Hey, welcome everybody to Let's Get Hair, and in today's video we are reacting to Teaching Men's Fashion. I went to Turkey for a hair transplant.
You ready to show this? Show the hair transplant?
I think so. I think I'm ready to do this.
Hairline. Let's start from the beginning because I need it.
Okay, so Teaching Men's Fashion, popular YouTube channel, 6+ million subscribers. He decides to take his brother on a journey to Turkey and get a hair transplantation for his brother. If you see those types of, pretty polished influencer videos on YouTube, you always can be suspicious. Did these guys really do their research in trying to find the best clinic, or did they, did the clinic contact them, and is it now transactional? Like, did they create this video in exchange for, free hair transplant and probably a lot of money? So you always have to be suspicious about, okay, what is this guy talking about this clinic? Is he just talking about the good stuff, or is he also critical or able to be critical? And if he's not able to be critical, then it's probably because there must be some transaction. Let's see if he's gonna say if he is taking finasteride or not.
Bro, I was nervous, all right? I'm not big into surgeries. I'm a little scared of them. I'm a big boy, but I'm still a little scared of surgeries. I don't like blood.
Okay, so here we see him getting the evaluation, and this is a dermoscope from Tricolab. This is a nice piece of software if you know how to use it and if you're using it regularly.
Now, that night we went to sleep because the next morning, it was procedure day. So early in the morning, we got picked up by a Sprinter van, which took us to Vera Clinic. This is when the nerves started kind of picking up a bit. But the beautiful thing is that Vera Clinic is a clean new facility.
As far as facility, it looks very trustworthy. I visited Vera Clinic, by the way, 4 years ago. They used to do like 3, 4, 5 patients a day. In the meantime, they have already expanded quite a bit, and they're now doing roughly 15-ish surgeries a day. So they expanded quite a lot, and that caused also many people to leave the clinic. Even a friend of mine who used to work with them is not working with them anymore. So the quality, I think the peak of the Vera Clinic used to be there, and now it's not going to be the same Vera Clinic it used to be.
All right, so we made it to Turkey. How are you feeling?
Fine. A little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I hate surgery.
Right.
I'm not the type of guy that will do surgery yet, but I'm 35.
All right.
I'm losing a little bit.
Okay, so for 35, this is again not bad hair loss, and right now I would be just chilling on my finasteride, maybe using some additional topicals, but that's it. Probably I would be just using finasteride in the topical or oral form. I will be microdosing if I'm concerned with side effects, and that's it. I will be chilling and seeing how this is affecting my hair maybe 1-2 years down the road, and from that point on I would be getting a hair transplant. But here, I don't know if he had used those treatments already for a year or two, and now is the time for him to do the hair transplant finally. I don't know.
So after, we went into a pre-surgery room where he could have his first consultation with a doctor. Now for Juan, the main area where he was losing his hair was his hairline. It was receding. Okay,
now we can see he's like a Norwood 2, absolutely. Probably even Norwood 2.5, slowly transitioning into the Norwood 3. The frontal forelock is going to be becoming more and more narrow in the future. Probably he's going to be the type of guy who will be left with some hair in the front, even if the mid-scalp will start to diffusely thin very aggressively. It seems like this pattern maybe, but it seems like the front, there is this forelock that will be quite maybe thick with the existing hair, and behind it will be thinner. It seems like that's what's happening. So I would be personally doing, I would try to, of course, redefine that, shape of that hairline in this, manner, like similar to what they are suggesting, but maybe not as straight, maybe something like this. And I would try to maybe dance back a little bit this way as well, so we can pretty much future-proof a little bit. But the front itself here looks quite good to me, so I wouldn't be dance packing this way too much. Maybe add a little bit of support of new grafts here as well, but not what you are about to see that is gonna happen with this case.
After the consultation, the doctor then started examining this area of Juan's hair to see if there were any small hairs left in the areas where Juan was losing it. For Juan, there were still small hairs that couldn't be seen by the naked eye in this area.
I mean, what's the point of looking for some soft, small hairs in this area? If they're already way too small, you cannot revive them. They're not coming back. You just transplant on those areas. The problem I'm seeing with this transplant, you will see, is that they're actually about to transplant into the areas where there is a lot of thick quite strong hair still, and they're going to transplant there with very, very high densities, which is unnecessary high.
Prove the benefits of the hair transplant by using topical medication like Finasteride and minoxidil. These are the two ingredients that I always recommend you guys use. For example, most of you, if you want the same results, but maybe can't afford a hair transplant, using these two can save your hairline.
I wouldn't put it that way. I mean, it's not like you can either get a hair transplant, but if you cannot afford it, then you just use minoxidil and finasteride and you are going to be getting the results. It's not the same, of course. Hair transplant will give you way more superior results, but it's doing it by rubbing you off of some hair from the back. Whereas if you take finasteride and minoxidil, it's going to give you, better hair while not taking any hair from here. You're not losing anything. So this is the benefit of taking the treatments. It's inexpensive and it's not limiting you there. So that's why I do recommend it already before the hair transplant to see what the treatment will do for you, how it thickens the hair. Especially by diffuse thinners, you can improve so much, across the whole section, and eventually don't need that high number of grafts that some clinics quote you initially.
The doctor then began examining the back of Juan's hair to see where he had the most hair. If you don't know,
I mean, there is a lot of examining with the software and all that, but the question is, are you doing something with this information? Are you using this to come up with this long-term strategy for how many hairs should be allocated for this surgery versus how many for the second and third one in case patient will lose more hair, and considering his expectations, considering his ideal situation right now that he would like to come close to, and also how he would like to maybe wear his hair 10 years later when he's 40, 50.
Because a second doctor stepped in, which is more focused on aesthetics. He then came in to size up Juan's head to be able to draw a natural hairline that suits his face shape and added facial symmetry. But what's important here is that they made the hairline look natural instead of making it look super straight.
I mean, it's not the most conservative one. Even this, I mean, it's quite aggressive in my opinion. I mean, the worst would be like you have seen from Hair of Istanbul or now Hair Time, where they do just this. Like that would be even another step, like ridiculous. But in this case, it's also not the most conservative hairline. Like personally, I would just do something like this. I would frame it very, very densely around the existing line that I have just lost recently, and I would go with that, and I would dance back around this, and then also future-proof a little bit there. I wouldn't do this line, but it's his decision. I mean, how many more grafts would you normally waste for adding even this? Normally, this would be up to 1,000 more. Roughly 1,000 grafts more, 800 to 1,000 more for densely packing this area. So yeah, you are losing about 1,000 follicles, which is like 15 to 20% of an average donor area. So are you willing to lose 15 to 20% of your donor reserves for this? That's the question. But these things need to be communicated to the patient during this consultation. Even if they are not, the patients are never that serious about their donor zone. They're never made to be that serious about the donor. And this is what I try to do during my one-on-one consultations with people. I'm not a doctor, but I'm somebody who has done hair transplants many, many times. I did a repair. I consulted more than 2,000 clients by now. And I've seen the best doctors, how they do, because I visited these clinics in the past. And I know what a great doctor would probably tell this patient and how he would, approach it. So that's what I try to, come close to during my calls. And patients, and when my clients decide to go to Turkey, then they are like way better equipped to handle those consultations and are able to ask different questions and try to do things the right way, even if the clinic might be pushing them to do something too stupid or too aggressive. So that's at the end of the day why you should really seek out multiple consultations, try to speak to as many experts, hair transplant doctors as possible, consult many people, get many unbiased opinions before, go with a certain clinic.
Key point of a hair transplant, where they were not only going to treat the area that had no hair, they were actually going to push up a little bit into the area that had some hair, to make sure that if he lost hair in the future, he still had some of this transplanted hair that would make up for that loss, keeping his hair between a quality hair transplant and a bad one.
Okay, so he says it's a quality hair transplant because they're future-proofing the hair transplant. That doesn't have anything to do with whether this is a quality hair transplant or not. Now, future-proofing makes sense. It's good to future-proof as much as it makes sense. But in this case, did it really, first of all, make sense to transplant 4,000 grafts on a Norwood 2, Norwood 2.5, diffusely thinning? We don't know if he's on medication. It's a ridiculously small area that my estimation would be is maybe 55 square centimeters. Now, as an example, this was my friend. We went to a hair transplant clinic with him together. The first one that you can see, this is 5'6", so 56 square centimeters times 50 graft density. And the second section is 31 square centimeters times 20 graft density. So the first number is the square centimeter surface. The second number is the graft density per square centimeter. So that's the surface. So if I look at his brother, like this looks to me that like 50-ish square centimeters. So if you do 4,000 divided by 50, let's do 55 to give him some benefit. Like they must have done 72 grafts density per square centimeter. 72, or maybe around 70. Like, why do you do this? Again, no great doctor would do more than 50 grafts per square centimeter because the survival rate will be diminished. And if the half of this area that is roughly 55, maybe 60, if I'm overdoing centimeter square surface, if half of this area has existing hair in it, that is, again, for me, decently thick existing hair. If you look at this guy before, like this is not super miniaturized hair in that area, before. Again, just this area, how many out of those 4,000 grafts that he gets there transplanted will not survive? And he lost close to 50% of his donor zone. Maybe for him it's 40% because his donor seems to be quite good. But for many guys, it's going to be 50% or more, for the ones with average donor. So this is another issue for me. Like, of course, you can also future-proof in a sane way. You can see my friend here, he got, 20 grafts additionally into that second section that was 31 square centimeter large. Perfect future-proofing, conservatively done future-proofing that will not damage a lot of existing hair. Because if you try to put so many follicles next to your existing hair, and here, I think they did really like 60 or 70, like you will damage almost every existing hair in that zone. So that's what's dangerous. But yeah, sure, you can do it. If you don't know what you're doing and you get this hair transplant probably for free, you are not really, worried about these little details. By the way, recently we just opened Insider membership, which is a closed community consisting out of my past one-on-one clients. This is only what I've been offering to my one-on-one clients in the past. It includes my one-on-one online support, which is 24/7, where I'm able to interact with you on a daily basis via text. And on this platform, you can get also chat, get feedback on your hair situation, on your hair transplant clinic quotes. You get additional bonuses like PDF resources that will help you make the best hair transplant clinic decision and find the best clinic in Turkey, worldwide. There are many video guides and downloadable resources that you get as a bonus. So in the link on the video description, you can sign up for either 6 or 12 months. For me, this is a lot of wasting. And if he's not on medication, he's in big trouble because he's then risking that island of hair appearance where he got this very densely packed hair transplant in the very front. And once he starts losing his hair in those sections, there will be a very weird contrast between the transplanted and non-transplanted hair, like especially this border. I mean, look at the shape of this thing. Like it's abruptly going to stop there. And right next to this border, if we observe those square centimeters of grafted areas, like this is high density, guys. This is going to be very high density, 50, 60 grafts, like what they did, I don't know. And imagine this, then creating this border with very diffusely thinning hair in the future. This is going to be the problem that I'm seeing right now. And for all of you guys, especially who want to, utilize buzz cuts and you get this type of, hair transplant, like you gotta invest everything in your life possible to keep that hair behind stable and thick and able to blend with that transplanted hair in the front. Because if you will start losing strength on this hair, it's gonna look very bad in a buzz cut and you will not be able to rock a buzz cut because there will be that distinct difference here on this border between the transplanted and non-transplanted hair. And also the same can happen here on temple. Your hair can recede from the temple this way, you know, the temple can move backwards. And then if you have this transplanted shape there, it can look very odd. It's gonna be like this little spare.
Times, and I slept like a baby.
In fact, we were on a lot of money.
Okay, now he's doing the breakdown on the costs. Just out of curiosity, this cost them $6,190. So they might have actually paid for the procedure. Probably, maybe they just do it just for illustration purposes. Nonetheless, it's roughly 6K with the travel, flights, food, which is a pretty good price again for 4,000 grafts. But actually, it would have been better spent on somebody who actually needed 4,000 grafts, not somebody like his brother who probably needed around 2,000, to be honest. And I usually give my clients a range during their consultations with me where I say like, okay, the lowest I would do or go for it's maybe 1,700, 1,800 in his case, and maybe I would go to 2,400 with future proofing as well. And I would be on trying to be on Finasteride as well. Then, you know, you wait 8 months, 12 months, you see how it grows, and then you see you maybe want to touch it up or you are already happy. But it's much better to do it in multiple steps because sometimes the clinic doesn't have the best, you know, survival rate. And in this case, it will probably be the case anyways because they grafted it in such a high density that it will definitely suffer. Or maybe they are not good with, you know, working and grafting in between the existing hair, so there will be some issues there and the regrowth will not be the best. So it's gonna be better to test the waters with less grafts. At least you are not losing so much from the donor. So that's what I advise my guys, especially if they're going to Turkey to some clinics that are maybe less known and not that reputable, and they're already booked and they're not willing to cancel. Then I'm like, man, try them to do the least harm on you. So go with less grafts at least. And in this case, they did the opposite, and unfortunately.
Show the hair transplant.
I think so. I think I'm ready for it. Damn.
Okay, so this is 6 months. It should still get a bit better. So it's hard to compare this result with his longer hair before. But what I see, there is growth for sure around his, you know, transplanted line. It seems like the hair is growing. But my, you know, thinking is like, could he have gotten to this result with half the number of grafts? Absolutely. You know, 2,000, 2,200 grafts, I think he could have had the same result. So in my opinion, this can easily end up in the island of hair appearance in the future once he stops taking Finasteride or he's not even taking Finasteride. Be careful, be cautious, consult with people who are knowledgeable, educate yourself. In the video description, I'm going to also link down for you the three most important videos you need to watch if you want to visit a hair transplant in Turkey. There are like 5 steps how to get the best hair transplant result. Then another one, how to also choose a surgeon for your specific hair type. And then 1/3 bonus video. All of them you can watch for free in the video description below. That will help you and set you the right way on your hair transplant journey. And if you need more assistance with your hair transplant clinic choice, if you need me to evaluate your quotes and work with you more, you know, one-on-one, make sure you use the opportunity to get on a one-on-one consultation with me. The link in the description below as well, or check out our Insiders membership where I can also assist you online on a daily basis, and you can use also a lot of our valuable resources that can help you and support you on your journey. So make sure you do that. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Comment below what you think about this transformation. Is it something you would like to have? Is it something you are glad you have not done? Is it something that served you as a very important lesson for your hair transplant? Make sure you let me know in the comments below, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon in another video. Take care.